Hello everybody, John Felt here. Hope your week's going well. You know, in the middle part of the summer here, it hasn't been too bad as far as temperatures. We've had a reprieve, we've had some drier air. It looks like gradually the ridge of high pressure that's dominating a large part of the nation with not so nice weather is going to reestablish itself over the Midwest and it's going to warm up again. But we might get some needed rain this week before that happens. So let's dig into the details right now and get started with today's briefing. Well, you can see the precipitation over the last week. Generally light over the eastern Corn Belt. Quite heavy over Wisconsin. Wisconsin's been really on the wet side lately because we've had this active jet stream. And also the West. The West has been fairly active as well. So the West and the North. But right in the middle here, that's where we need that more rain. And you can see over the last week, this was 1 to 3 inches of rain in yellow here. So parts of Nebraska, Kansas, and South Dakota got hit with some more significant rain. The core of the Corn Belt, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, did not get much. But that could change this week. Now the dew point, it's pretty oppressive here. And you know, I talked in the opening about the drier air, and you can really see it here. Look at the dew points, 50s and 60s in this area, dominated by the drier air, and then we have this really moist air in this region. Matter of fact, look at parts of Texas, Oklahoma, a dew point of 74 to 77, and the temperature in this area is going to reach near or above 100 degrees, so that is oppressive. But this nice weather, let's enjoy it while we can, because it looks like we could have some changes as we get into the middle part of the month. So there's that cooler air in green. Yellow is also close to normal. And as has been the trend, we are continuing to dry soils. And generally, I think we could use rain just about anywhere in the core Corn Belt here. But the action has been right above the top of this ridge here, where we've had an active jet stream. Parts of the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, definitely a lot more rain than Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. Now we can get some tropical moisture moving in the area, but right now, put out some information on it, but right now it looks like not much at all going on, and that's due to a large dome of high pressure over the Atlantic development area. And that looks like it's not going to change this week or maybe even next week. So I don't see any tropical moisture working its way into the Corn Belt. But this has been the culprit here of the hot and dry weather over the south central U.S. At the same time, we have an active jet stream over the upper Midwest, and that's why Minnesota, the Dakotas, Wisconsin, parts of Michigan have been active. And generally, the core of the Corn Belt has been just outside that, so it's sort of been getting the cool weather, but not so much the wet weather. So does that make sense? So it really depends on what's going to happen with that area of high pressure. Well, here's the next 2 weeks, and what happens with that area of high pressure is that it gradually starts to push up and expand in this direction, keeps a trough in this area here. So sort of look at that brown. That's saying the jet stream's unusually far north, and as we get into days, really the second week, it looks like particularly, that sort of works its way up there. So when we look at temperatures here, let's sort of look at what happens to the blue. The blue is the cooler than normal weather, and that generally, as we get into week 2, is replaced by near to a bit above normal. Now, the eastern Corn Belt, let's hope we get some rain, because other than that, temperatures have been really pretty good. Even in week 2, it goes from below normal and lifts up, but just back to near normal. And the core of heat remains under the core of that high pressure off to the west. So basically, even though we're going to be warming up in week 2, it doesn't look excessive, with the exception of maybe the far western Corn Belt. So it looks like the front here, the stationary boundary, could bring some needed rain in spots, but at the same time, it could bring a chance of some stronger storms and severe weather as well. So here's where we could get the heaviest rain. It looks like northern Iowa and right along the Wisconsin-Illinois border. Unfortunately, for other areas that could use some rain, not much at all over parts of southern Illinois, southern Indiana, and southern Ohio. Now in this area right above that stationary front, we could get 1 to 2 inches of rain, or even locally more, right up north of that frontal boundary. So here's the extended outlook, the 6 to 10 day temperature in the 8 to 14. And you can see that as that ridge expands up to the north, we generally get a period of above normal temperatures over the entire Corn Belt. So we're going to be warming up again. And generally, I think the area of precipitation is where you would expect it climatologically over the far upper Midwest. And it looks like warming temperatures and dry over a large part of the Corn Belt, especially the east, looks like remaining dry. Weather threats, I just wanted to point out, tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday, chance of severe storms, and then within there, pockets of a heavy rain. That's the heavy rain right there. So I think this week, this will be our weather feature to watch right here, where we might get that heaviest rain. And again, let's sort of hope we get a more widespread rain, because I think some areas aren't going to get much rain at all. That's this week's briefing. I'll be talking with you again next weekend.